Welcome back to Charlotte Legacy League Food Chain versus Grixis Delver and our players tournament. Uh, yeah, it's been a couple weeks since we've seen everybody. Welcome back to 2024. I imagine your holidays were a lot like mine, and you decided that you were going to get sick and catch something in that time period. But we're back now, and we've got some legacy content going here. Forewarning, the names at the top are switched because I'm an idiot, and it's been 2 weeks since I've recorded anything, and I had my camera on backwards. So for round one and round two of this players tournament, it's going to definitely be a little jaunting at first. We caught it in round two and got it situated. So in round three, everything will go back as the way it should be. Uh, since I've been going over all of this, as you're watching, nothing very important has happened. We've seen some ponders happening from Jesse Inman and Dan Starr. Welcome back to Jesse Inman. He won our last 1K tournament that we had on Grixis Delver, and Dan Starr has been coming around for a couple months now as well, and it's good to have both these guys back playing on camera with us. So, uh, like I said in the intro, we've got Food Chain versus Grixis Delver. Some interesting matches here off of these two. We get to see Food Chain, which doesn't come around very often. It's getting to run the full suite of counter spells as well as you know Mist Hollow Griffins and some new added stuff to the deck would be like Questing Druid, Murktides, uh, Xenothorpe from the Warhammer uh, series that just came out, as well as Tasha's Tidebinder is in here. So some interesting deck choice or configuration for the Food Chain deck, and we'll see how that plays out against Grixis Delver. It does still run the Imperial Recruiters and the Icevein Quaddles, so and the Squee the Immortal as well. So some pretty neat tech in this Food Chain deck. The Grixis Delver deck is pretty standard from what I could tell. Take a peek here and see. Yeah, running 4 Delvers, a Brazen Borrower, 4 Dragon's Race Chandlers, 1 Lord Revealed, a couple forces. A new added card to the list here is a Molten Collapse, which is a pretty neat card. I've got, of course, the 4 Bowmasters and the 4 Murktide Regents as well in the main. And then once we get the sideboard, we can take a peek and see what they're doing there. So again, not too much development happening right now. We'll see a lightning bolt coming out of Jesse here, trying to feed that graveyard. I imagine probably for a Murktide that he's got chilling in his hand, and trying to close this game out as fast as possible before this Food Chain deck can get off the ground. So that's what we're going to see here is Murktide come out, and we'll see a response with a Seek the Beast from Dan, and see if he can find maybe a Force of Will or something off of that Seek the Beast. There's a Food Chain and a land. Not quite probably what he's looking for here. So looks like that Murktide's going to resolve. Put some -3 counters on there with the black dice, and imagine it'll probably end the turn for Jesse here. We had some fun stuff happening over the holidays. We did a vintage event yesterday. That would have been Saturday the 6th. 14 people came out for that. Those videos will be up shortly, or not shortly, on Saturday. One video per Saturday for our vintage Saturday content. So yeah, there's that as well. So I feel like I'm just kind of rambling here because I haven't done this in 2 weeks and I kind of forgot how to do it. Wasteland out of Jesse here. He's got a 6/6 Murktide coming over and putting Dan down to 6 here, and see if Dan can do anything. He does have the Food Chain out, so he could potentially get something going here. Um, Maybe gets a Squee out. He can get some mana rolling. And there's the Squee there. We'll see if Jesse has anything to say about that. And he's going to pick up that hand. Looks like he's got a Force of Will there. So Force of Will on that Squee. And I think that's probably going to do it for Dan here. It's going to be kind of tough for him to come back from that, especially the Squee being in the graveyard as opposed to being in into the exile, because I believe Squee can only be brought back from exile, not graveyard.
If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.
Welcome back to game number 2. Both players have kept 7 here. Dan's going to be on the play. Jesse's giving us the old smiley face because he does not mulligan. So he is always happy with the 7 that he has off the top. A note from game 2 there, Squee can be cast from the graveyard or from exile. So that is not as bad as I thought it would be. It's just he didn't have enough time to turn it around against that Murktide and what Jesse had going on his side. So we'll see some Spider-Man memes here with some double Misty Rainforest, and looks like we got a Ponder coming out. So exciting stuff, just like we saw from game number 1. Looks like we got a Force of Will, Force Negation, and a Ponder off the top there for Jesse, and we'll see if he wants to keep that or throw it back. Looking at the sideboard for this food chain deck, he has some Pyroblast he can bring in, as well as Veil of Summer if he needs it to protect his combo, and 2 Endurances, which I don't really think he brings in this matchup, just because, I mean, the Murktides are pretty tough, and so are the Dragontrace Chandlers, but maybe he doesn't bring them in. I'm not entirely sure. And then the sideboard for the Grixis Delver deck, Hydroblast is pretty good. Force Negations, of course, and the Pyroblast. Unfortunately, Surgical Extraction doesn't really do anything here against Dan's deck, because everything that you would want to Surgical Extract, with the exception of Food Chain, he's able to just play out of exile. So Surgicaling like the Mist Hollow Griffin or the Squee Immortal, neither one of those actually do anything. So not quite what he wants to do. So Surgicals probably did not come in this matchup. Looks like we did see a rather heavy-handed Pyroblast there from Jesse on that Brainstorm, not wanting Dan to be able to put together the combo quickly. So another Ponder from Jesse, and see if he likes to keep these 3 or he wants to shuffle it up. And so it looks like that's really about it for the sideboards and for this matchup here. I think it's all going to come down to who can land a Murktide and protect it and work through all the other bullshit that is happening here. So we've got Jesse here, taking his time on this Ponder, making sure he has exactly what he needs for the next couple turns, because that's what these decks do. I know that because I have no idea how to play these decks. So likes the Ponder, lets it resolve, and let's see what we've got. So we got another Volk and a pass. So end of turn, we're just gonna Brainstorm and see if there's another counter spell for that. Nope. So we gotta draw 3 here and see if we can realign our hand to get what we're looking for, and try and put a combo together here. Didn't realize I left all this open space for me to have to fill instead of editing it, but here we are. So now you get to hear my lovely voice with this sinus infection or whatever the fuck I've got going on. Must have fallen asleep while I was editing this, but it looks like he's put the 2 back that he wants, and he wants to draw that one again. So all right, no shuffle at that point. Another Rainforest for Dan here, and I think that's probably going to end his turn unless he's got something not up his sleeve, because that would be not great, but just in general. So end of turn, Lightning Bolt from Jesse over on Dan, and I guess that's probably going to just be 3 damage to the face. So we'll see what if we're just filling up that graveyard for another big Murktide like we saw in game number 1, or if we've got something else planned here. So, all right, we've got a third Ponder from Jesse here. See if he likes what he sees this time. Looks like he's got a fetch land and 2 cards I can't really tell. So not friendly to the camera when it comes to the hands, but we'll be working on that soon. And see if he likes what he sees again on here. Looks like he's got a pretty good grip of counter spells in his hand to handle almost anything that Dan wants to throw at him. But that is to be seen. And we'll see if he wants to shuffle this up or draw the card. He likes what he sees. Jesse's not a big fan, I guess, of shuffling the old deck here and taking an extra moment or two just make sure he's got everything lined up that he wants. We'll see a fetch from Dan, and looks like this is an end of turn Seek the Beast. See if we're going to see a Hydroblast, and we will. All right, so there's a Hydroblast coming from Jesse here, just making sure that Dan can't draw any additional cards this game. So definitely punishing him every chance he gets here. So, all right, we got to pick up here, and let's see here. We've got, that is an interesting card from Dan, and that is called Manipulate Fate. And you get to search your library for 3 cards, remove them from the game, and then shuffle your library, and then you draw a card. So one of my favorite things about watching Jesse play is that what you just saw right there, where he grabs his cap and puts on, as you would say, put on your thinking cap to see if he wants to let this slide or if it's going to get counterspelled. So Jesse just taking a moment trying to decide how important and how impactful is this Manipulate Fate in this matchup. I would say it's pretty impactful because it is one of the key cards that allow him to move some stuff into exile and that he can then play back out of exile, like the Squee, the Mist Hollow Griffin, and a few other cards. It looks like he does a Squee, a Mist Hollow Griffin, and an Imperial Recruiter. I'm not quite sure why he does the Imperial Recruiter. Maybe he can comment in the comments of why he does the Imperial Recruiter, because it can't be played out of exile. But maybe there's nothing else he wants to exile with that Manipulate Fate. So he'll be the better one to answer that than me, or someone who knows the Food Goblin deck much better than I do. So if we got a Murktide coming out here, see if Dan wants to fight over it or not. He chooses not to. Got some -5 counters on that Murktide, and we'll see a pass back over. So fetch, and let's see if he's got a blast or anything like that. As the Lightning Bolt. So going over to Jesse's face. Life totals aren't going to be updated right now. They will eventually get updated. They're keeping them on life pads, and then they're just have it put it over onto the desktop. You also notice on the desktop here that we've adjusted our top piece with life totals and everything like that. Things aren't quite lining up yet. Still a work in progress for me. I rebuilt it and hadn't had a chance to test it since I rebuilt it, so this is kind of my test run, and I apologize about that. But here we see a Murktide, and I believe he was able to exile 3 or 4 instants or sorceries to get this Murktide up to a 7/7. Of course, it's not quite as big as an 8/8, which is what Jesse has, but you do what you can with what you got. So, got some exile cards there, and we'll see where we go from here. Pass it back over to Jesse. So Dan's got some work to do to having to deal with a creature that's just one size bigger, and that Lightning Bolt is not there to make the trade easy. So, all right, we got a land here, and we're going to see a swing over for 8. That'll put Dan down to 7. And let's see if he's got anything to do with this. So, all right, 7, and back on over. What do we got here? I'm just excited to see how this plays out. All right, so we got a Prismatic Vista. A fetch will put him down to 6. So within double bolt range at that point, which is real tough. You never really want to get in that spot. But we'll see what we got here. All right, so we're coming over for 7 for dinner. And that'll put Jesse, I believe, down to, he took 3 and then 7, that's 10. So down to 9. All right, so we've got a game here. Oh, shit. All right, got a fetch there, down to 7. We got a recruiter. Let's see how we're going to handle that. All right, we've got a force of will on that recruiter. I wonder what he was going to go get with that recruiter. A Fury doesn't do it here. He could go get like an Ice Fang Quaddle, but he didn't leave any green mana up for the Ice Fang Quaddle. So that's interesting. And then we've got a Murktide. That's just a 3/3. Okay. And we got a Bowmaster here. And it looks like that's going to resolve and put one of the face on Dan. So we've got Bowmasters, Murktides aplenty. And man, this is something here. So, we see an attack. What are we doing here? This is an interesting board state here. Because Jesse can attack for 10, but you have to block the 8/8 Murktide with your Murktide. So that goes to the graveyard. We'll see an untap here and a draw. Now, there is still a Mist Hollow Griffin in the sideboard. It is only a 3/3 though, so a Lightning Bolt could just take that out. Sorry, it's not in the sideboard. It's in exile. So the Mist Hollow Griffin's in exile. It can be played here. Sans no Force of Will or Pyroblast from Jesse. So we'll see a Mist Hollow Griffin onto the board here. Out of exile and an attack. All right, so all fucking bets are off here. Oh shit. That puts Jesse down to 1. Got a Wasteland on the Valk here, and he can't attack because the Mist Hollow can block. There's no Lightning Bolt in his hand. I think that Mist Hollow Griffin is going to win this game. Who knew that a rare from Avakin Restored, I think, just stared down a Murktide and told him to go fuck himself. That's absolutely fantastic. Because Griffin could have blocked. No bolt. Man, that's it doesn't go to exile either. So Dan's saying, fuck it, let's do it. We're coming in with everything. Jesse packs it up. We're going to go to game number 3. All right.
If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.
Welcome back to game number 3. Holy shit, we just saw Mist Hollow Griffin win the match through attacks. Both players kept 7 here, and Jesse's going to be on the play. He's going to play a Flooded Strain, it looks like, and then Dan's going to play a Misty Rainforest. Man, I feel like we've seen this a couple times already. Volcanic Island into a Underground Sea, and maybe a Bowmaster here. Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, Volcanic Island, so here we go. What do we got? Got some shuffling going on in our hands here. Instep. Yeah, Instep Bowmaster. Alright, we got a Bowmaster on the battlefield. We'll see a fetch from Dan, and we'll see what he wants to do here. It looks like he's got a Seek the Beast. He's going to go for a Seek the Beast here. And we'll see what Jesse wants to do. We got a Daze coming out of Jesse. So, no. Jesse's been punishing him all match, not allowing him to draw in additional cards. Whether it being Hydroblasting or Pyroblasting the Brainstorms or the Ponders, or dazing the Seek the Beast, or what was it? That would have been Hydroblast on one of those Seek the Beasts too. Man, just completely denying them any chance to get any card selection. So hats off to Jesse on that. So it's going to swing over for 2. Dan's going to take some damage there, going down to 17. They're not really keeping up with life totals anymore. We don't have time for that bullshit. We're at 6 minutes. All right, we've got Food Chain, and there's a Force of Will in hand. Is there a blue card to go along with it? There is not. Okay, Food Chain has resolved. We're in it now. Got a Food Chain down. We got some orcs playing out in the field, attacking again. I think that puts them down to, it was at 17, puts them down to 15. Yeah, there we go. All right, we got it at 14. Yeah, because we got a fetch there too, I think. So yeah, we're on this. And then we got a Dragon's Rage Chandler. That's just a little 1/1 at the moment, but we all know how she can grow and get out of hand fairly quickly. All right, we got a Food Chain going. What are we gonna do next? All right, we got a Recruiter of the Guard. There's a Recruiter. Still no blue card for the Force of Will. We're going to sack that to the Food Chain. I think that makes 4 mana if I remember correctly. Let's make sure I understand what fucking Food Chain does since I've been talking about it. Remove a creature you control from the game. Add X mana of your color of your choice, where X is the... remove creatures converted mana cost +1. All right, so he gets 4 mana off that, so he plays a Squee. So now the Squee can be sacrificed over and over again, netting +1 mana. And then the card that we talked about a minute ago, which was the Xanathorpe from the Warhammer series, and I'll post that up in here in just a second. All right, we got a Pyroblast into a Force of Will. No other blue card. All right. So Pyroblast, he's going to Force of Will, pitching the whatever that bitch is called. Ice Fang Quaddle. Yep. And I think that might be it. I don't think he has another blue card in his hand for that Force of Will. What do we got here? Xanathorpe's gonna win it. Oh, thanks for watching.
If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.